Hello, 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 and welcome back to the channel, Romel, Private Investigator. As I always say, dream with purpose, act with intent. Good to see you all, assuming I can see you. Joking again, terrible me. In any event, what I'd like to talk to you about today is how important it is to have a private investigator. This is going to be a very interesting case. It won't be long. I tend to be a little long-winded at times. But some information you just have to take the time to go through it. The thoroughness of anything that's discussed oftentimes is important. Each person may have some portion of a video that's, let's say, a bit more meaningful than, say, another person. But when you look at these videos in any event, when you look at them in their entirety, it gives you an opportunity to see things from a much broader perspective than just taking a few moments to take a little peek, look-see, that type of thing. So let me tell you this story. Very, very interesting story. An attorney called me into his office, told me he had a case of an attempted rape. The majority of the charges were closer to different types of sexual contact, groping, let's say, more so than anything else. And a lot of times, what you all may know and what you may not know, listen, what happens sometimes with the police when you get charged, sometimes you get charged maybe 5, 6 charges. I'm not going to say why it's done this way. I can't say I know that for sure. I can't be in the mind of every police officer. But sometimes it's a result of trying to make sure something sticks. I'll just put it that way. So just bear with me for a minute. So in any event, I tell you where this thing starts. This starts in an apartment building. It's a 5-story apartment building. And the attorney gave me the case. I looked over the information in the case, and I'm like, I like to prepare myself before I hit the field. So I go out to the building. I'm looking at the building, just kind of getting a sense of what the lay of the land looks like. And in order to get into the building, you do have to push a buzzer. It's a secured building. And so I was to meet with the wife of the person that was arrested. He was in jail. She was out. And so I went upstairs. We sat down. We talked. And when I say we talked, we talked. I couldn't get a word in edgewise. She was livid. She was angry as, you just wouldn't believe. She was just so upset. And I'm thinking to myself, this was her husband that was accused, mind you. So I'm thinking to myself, that's kind of normal. You don't believe your husband did something. Maybe the guy did it. I don't know. I don't proclaim, well, at that time, obviously, I didn't know. But in any event, I'm listening to her, and she's bringing up just telling me the whole history, when they got married, how they got married, and who was there, who wasn't there, the whole nine. So a lot of times what you have to do in cases like this, let them talk. Let them talk. It gives you an opportunity to get a little closer to who they are. It gives you a sense of maybe what type of questions you may want to ask, or even more particularly, how you want to address your questions. So as I finally got an opportunity to say something, So I'm asking her, how does she know so much about what happens if she wasn't there? And she said, well, her husband told her that he did not do it. And if he said he didn't do it, that means he didn't do it. So I'm asking her about what type of a relationship did they have with her. Now, this is a 5-story building. The woman who makes the complaint is on the 1st floor, and the gentleman that got arrested, he lives on the 3rd floor. So in any event, after speaking with the wife, I says, okay, let me go out to the jail. Let me talk to the defendant. I went out to speak with him. He says every now and again he may have a slight disagreement with this person, the complainant. And by slight disagreement, let's say they're going to empty the garbage and he's already there. If he doesn't move away from the garbage cans quick enough, she gets a little upset and they may have a couple of words here and there. Can't you wait your turn, and why you're such a big rush, that type of thing. Nothing really serious, but just something to be a little annoying. And that was just the gist of it. I says, well, she claims this happened at 8 o'clock in the morning. And he says, well, he wasn't there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, he said where he was, but it couldn't be verified. It couldn't be verified. So in any event, because he's basically there by himself, there's no one else around. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know. Maybe he's guilty, maybe he's innocent. So I had to put my little thinking cap on. I said, let me look at the camera situation around here. Let's see what's going on with the cameras. Cameras in the library, cameras on the first floor, cameras on the second floor, cameras on the third floor. So there are cameras. The next thing is whether or not the cameras work. I didn't want to take the chance of going to the super and asking to see the cameras just yet, not just that way just yet. So I spoke to the attorney, and I says to the attorney, I says, okay, listen, I know where the cameras are. I know the exact locations. I was even able to see the different numbers. Every now and then you have security cameras. They'll have numbers on them that identify their particular location. So I did all of that. And I told the attorney, I says, listen, if you want, you're a little busy, I'll draw up the subpoena. You look the subpoena over. If you see anything else that's needed, obviously you could put that in the subpoena, and I'll get this out. Time is of the essence. Now, for some of you, I do write many of the criminal subpoenas. I do write them. I do have some background in that. I've gone to school for it. And the attorneys, now I'm not talking about anything extra heavy or extra extraordinary. That's something I leave to the attorneys. And obviously, that's the best place for that type of thing to take place. But in any event, moving right along. Now, hang in there on this. Hang in. Now, here's what happens. You have to be, in my mind, very strategic when you're trying to get information like that, especially if, let's say, a superintendent of a building knows that there could be some backlash from one of the tenants as a result of that information getting out. So you have to be very tactful, and you have to be very technical in a user-friendly sort of a way. And this is basically how I draw up the subpoenas when I draw them up. The particular subpoena that I'm talking about, some of you may know, it's a subpoena ducis tecum. And that's a subpoena where you have the information, certain information you're seeking is brought into the court by the person. And basically the way I write them up giving them the option to forward that information to either myself or the attorney. And of course, these are so ordered subpoenas. They're not attorney subpoenas, because some people don't really respect attorney subpoenas the way they should. But a so ordered subpoena, whole different category, people pay more attention. Okay? So now, as this thing goes on, I'm like, how am I going to approach this super? Got the super's name and so forth. Found out when the super is usually in and out of the garbage area, doing different things associated with getting the garbage out for the garbage truck to come through and collect the garbage. And what happens is I get up real early in the morning, kind of stake them out, because you have to catch people by surprise for a couple of reasons. One is you don't want to get hurt. Not unnecessarily. Sometimes it just happens. But you have to be practical. You have to be strategic in the way you approach these situations. A lot of people will tell you different. They get hurt a lot too. Now, so what happened was I actually caught him coming out, called him by his name, and I immediately gave him the subpoena. And I said to him, I says, listen, what I also have for you, and this is something else I do also, I always make sure that I have a flash drive to give to the person. So they can't say, well, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. Everything they need, they have. So I explained to him very briefly that he doesn't have to come in. But this information is critical. Something happened in the building. A person got arrested. And he says he didn't do it. And perhaps he did not. The superintendent says to me, oh, well, you should give that to management. And so I explained to him, I says, well, you are representing management as the superintendent. You should be able to talk to management. This is not a big deal for them. And certainly you don't want to be in a situation where you have to come in. If you don't address this subpoena, you put yourself in that predicament. Right now, all that's being requested is the information. You don't have to come into court at all. He was a happy camper. He contacted management. The information came forward. As this information came forward and the video was reviewed, the video showed, and by the way, the time was verified on the video. So there was no question as to whether or not the video was maybe 5 minutes off, 10 minutes off, 2 minutes off, and so forth. The video was verified with respect to its timeline. And what was disclosed was he, at the time that she says this took place, and she called the police immediately and they came immediately. And no, I'm sorry, they didn't come that day. They came later during the day because he wasn't around at the time. And so what I was able to see from the video was he had not left his apartment. As I got the video for the third floor, that's where his apartment was, the third floor, and the complainant's apartment was on the first floor. I got the video. The video showed for the third floor on that particular day. I got the video for the whole day. It doesn't show him coming in or out of his apartment at all. And I should be a little clear when I say the whole day. I'm talking about an 8-hour interval. At least 4 hours prior to the incident. And I watched it an additional 4 hours after the incident. He didn't come in or out of the apartment. And when I looked at the first floor, I'm thinking, well, maybe he was coming in and never went upstairs. I looked at the first floor. There was an entrance camera, nothing showing him going in and out during those intervals I mentioned. And certainly the first floor, nothing at all showing her even coming to her door between the time interval that was mentioned. Wow. Long story short, of course, this information was presented to the district attorney's office, and this man was released from jail. A very, very happy camper. By the way, don't forget to subscribe. What else you have to do? Ring the notification bell, leave a comment, leave a like. All of that stuff, a lot of the YouTubers say, I'm getting used to this stuff. Bear with me, if you will. So, in any event, he was released. Of course, he was a very happy man. But I say this to say to you, this woman, I'd later find out that the woman, I had to do a little checkup on her as well. It turns out she was bipolar, you see. But you don't know this. The police don't know this when coming in, she makes the complaint, they make the arrest. They don't know all of this stuff. But these things happen to people. They happen to people. Some attorneys will go out in the field, but some of them are not really equipped to deal with the nuances of one community versus another community. Let's say the hood, as some would say, versus a more affluent neighborhood, or let's say a very lightly populated community versus a very populated community, a very diverse community with respect to different ethnic groups living in the same area and stuff like that. So the investigators, they're out in the field. You get the feel of who's doing what. The corner, people in the corner watching on the corner. You turn the corner, all the eyes are following you around the corner. All of those things. Some people, when they see that, they get nervous. And then, of course, when you get nervous like that, people pay even more attention to you. So in any event, thank you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you all. Dream with purpose, act with intent. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the notification bell, and all that good stuff. Take care and be well.